Unity in a divided world. As the West grapples over their differences, members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization are converging in the eastern Chinese city of Tianjin for a summit, the largest of its kind in history. From August the 31st to September the 1st, leaders from over 20 countries and 10 international organizations will attend the summit, the fifth time held in China. And Chinese President Xi Jinping will chair the meeting of the Council of Heads of State and the SCO Plus meeting. A Tianjin declaration is expected to be issued, mapping out the future of the world's largest regional organization. But it's more than just politics. At the grassroots level, people from SCO members are forging closer ties with each other. Why do this kind of exchanges matter, and how can we better leverage the opportunities arising therefrom, especially for young people? Welcome to SCO Shoreline Talks, a special program jointly brought to you by CGTN, the English channel of China, and PTV World, the English channel of Pakistan Television Corporation. I'm Li Xin in Beijing, and I'm so happy to co-host the show with my distinguished colleague from PTV World, a seasoned journalist from that channel, Mr. Omar Khalid, joining me from Islamabad. Omar, what a pleasure to do this together with you.
Pleasure is all ours, and I should say, you know, the way Pakistan and China have collaborated in so many other realms, this is just another chapter as far as that collaboration is concerned. So as I say, Xin, Ni Hao, and welcome to this joint production by CGTN and PTV World, in which we are trying to, or we will try to decipher and focus on cultural exchange, education, youth programs, and economic cooperation, and how they are weaving stronger people-to-people contacts between the countries of Eurasia. We've been honored to be joined by distinguished scholars, leaders, and influencers from across Eurasia. Yes, Xin.
Absolutely. This sounds like a very exciting discussion, and we want to make it very relevant and personal for you. We have guests from all across this organization. I understand there's a distinguished guest from Pakistan sitting right next to you, so I'll leave that to you to introduce to us. But right here in the studio, as we have seen, I have Professor He Keyong, who is Professor of Foreign Studies at Minzu University of China. Welcome, Professor He.
Thank you.
By the way, Minzu means ethnicity in Chinese. The other guests, what a lineup of distinguished guests we have here. From Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, we're joined by a distinguished former statesman, Jurmat Otobayev, who is a former Prime Minister of the Kyrgyz Republic. Welcome, sir. From Limassol, Cyprus, by Mayor Sahakian, Director of China Eurasia Council for Political and Strategic Research in Armenia. Welcome, Mayor. And from Qingdao, Eastern China, Shandong Province, by Anton Butov, a Russian actor, business person, and influencer. Omar, introduce to us your guests and the ones joining us online as well.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Xin, for that introduction as well. I get to know these guests also through you. And that is a wonderful opportunity under this SCO framework to get all of these people from the different countries together. In the studios with me is Dr. Hassan Daud, but he's a former project director of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor and has been at the forefront of Pakistan-China collaboration, cooperation, driving initiatives that connect infrastructure with communities. Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan, to have joined us. We've also been joined by Ms. Ainur Slamghazi. Thank you very much, Ms. Slamghazi, to have joined us all the way from the Astana IT University in Astana. You specialize in digital innovation and the empowerment of youth through science and technology. And of course, Salmal Al-Sari, thank you very much to have joined us all the way from Riyadh. You are a geopolitical researcher and bring a Middle Eastern perspective to this Eurasian connectivity with a focus on youth, education, and diplomacy. Over to you, Shin.
Yeah, thanks, Omar. And by the way, this is the very first time I believe I'm showing up on PTV World. So it's a great honor, and all the very best, warmest greetings from CGTN here, from our production team, to all those who are watching you and those who are helping make this a reality. But I think it is important as we go into the program, let's just talk a little bit about what exactly is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Just now we heard, right, the background of our guests spanning from China, from Asia, from even from Central Asia. Exactly what is this organization? Now, Professor He, I'm sure you have also been following news about this organization. Actually, it was founded in 2001, so by now it's 24 years. It was founded by China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. Now, after several rounds of expansion, the organization now has a total of 26 members, but in 3 different categories and covering Asia, Europe, and Africa. Now, I mean, 3 different categories. We have the member states, right? We have the founding 6
countries.
member
states,
and then we had expansion, which included 2 big countries in South Asia, Pakistan and India. And then we have Iran and I understand Belarus, making it
Belarus is very big.
Yeah, very big, and a European member to this organization. But we also have the observer states.
That's right.
Right, 2 of them, which are Afghanistan and Mongolia, and there are the 14 dialogue partners. There we actually have an African country as well, which is Egypt. The other 13, we have Azerbaijan, Armenia, which is where one of our guests, Mayor Sahakian, where you're from, Bahrain, Cambodia, Qatar, Kuwait, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, where Ansari is from, Turkey, and Sri Lanka. So indeed, it's
a big family.
It's a big family, and it spans 3 different continents, the world's biggest regional organization. So after laying the groundwork for the discussion, now we have an idea of what SCO is. Can I have the honor and pleasure to pose the first question to Dr. Hassan in the studio in Islamabad? Dr. Hassan, I understand the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Sharif, he has just thanked China for the support China has given to Pakistan in terms of training agricultural talents. I understand this is only part of the people-to-people exchanges between the 2 countries. What do you make of the kind of exchanges that's happening, especially on the people-to-people front, between China and Pakistan, but also within the SCO framework?
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's such an honor to be here amongst this rainbow group from representing different countries. And this in itself reflects the Shanghai spirit. By the way, I've just returned from Zhengzhou, where we had the think tank and media conference representing many countries, over 20. And there actually I saw the true spirit under which Shanghai Cooperation Organization has been established, is fostering a relationship, partnership. You know, it's not just about brick and mortar and infrastructure and connectivity. It's about connectivity of civilization. It's about connectivity of cultures, different religions coming together, sitting, talking, working on diversity, people-to-people interaction. Because, you know, trade, technology, it's all about people sitting together, benefiting from each other's experience and leveraging each other's endowment. And when we see such a large group getting together without any conflict, especially, and you also highlighted the vulnerability in which, the fragmentation in which we live. But here under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we live under a great spirit of mutual respect, harmony, loyalty, and of course, towards development. And development means quality development for shared prosperity. And this is great, and I'm really excited to see how the Tianjin Declaration comes out. I wish the next decade will be the decade of SCO. We've seen a decade of Belt and Road Initiative, but I believe the next decade will be of SCO. More people coming together, more civilization, culture, religions coming together and bringing harmony and peace across the region.
I'm sure there is a lot to watch out for. There will be a Tianjin Declaration. There will be a blueprint for the next 10 years of development. I'm sure there will also be messages, a collective message about memories of the Second World War. But Omar, let me hand over to you. What will be your first question for the guests online and here with me in Beijing?
All right. My question goes to Professor He Keyong. Thank you very much, sir, to have given me the opportunity to talk to you directly in my first question that I'll be asking through all of these guests. How do you view, sir, the role of the language and cultural studies in strengthening the people-to-people contact amongst the SCO states, particularly if we look at that relationship between the People's Republic of China and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan?
Okay, thank you for having me, Mr. Omar. As we know, language and culture are two very important basic things in not only communicating the world, but understanding the world. So usually we call them, for example, the language studies as well as culture studies as the nuclear or core bond that serve for not only exchanges, but also strengthening the understanding. So together, see, by language as well as cultural studies, we can, shall we say, eradicate the gap in information as well as understanding. So this is what I have been doing for nearly 40 years in the past. Say, as a matter of fact, see, the languages spoken not only, in scope or SCO member states, but also along the Silk Road, a lot. But if we want to get to the people, if we want to understand the people, we have to learn the language. We have to take care of the languages.
And I would like to turn to Mr. Jomat Otabayev. And coming from Kyrgyzstan, what is the significance of us sitting here talking about the importance of understanding each other among ourselves instead of what we always talked about, the West, right? Learning English from Shakespeare, from Hemingway. What is the significance of understanding our part of the world really well for probably the first time in history?
Likely or not, English is international language. This is fact which proven today, and it always will be that way. So I would advise to everyone to study English, to be able to communicate and listen, understanding everything. But we indeed live in other part of the world, in Asia and in Eurasia. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is biggest institution, which functioning for already more than 24 years. I believe that we indeed have to get close to each other. First, we have to build our economies and to communicate, trade, investments, mutual understanding, security concerns, people to people, of course. And as we see in the development of our countries in our Eurasian continent, we see quite healthy development. Now we have 10 full members, which from one hand side is a very positive signal, but on the other side, it's not easy to find consensus because each of the members has a veto right. And if you look to the composition of the full membership, then we can see that there are some countries which not necessarily, let's say, agree upon everything. But all dialogues very important. It is important to listen, and it will be very important to see what will be reflected in Tianjin Declaration, because it will be first time in existing of Shanghai Cooperation Organization that with such diverse composition of participants, we will be able to provide synchronous, harmonious document. So it's everything is ahead of us, and the political will of our leaders and understanding of our people will build future peaceful and prosperous Eurasian continent and Asia as a whole. I believe that some countries which willing to observe will soon join the membership. It will not easy to build the consensus, but we have to speak to each other, to understand each other.
Omar, you want to really take the initiative? I don't want to.
Yes, I wanted to
Yeah, please.
ask our guest who's joining us all the way from the Astana, and of course, is an educationist from the Astana IT University. Ma'am, I know Islam Ghazi. I'd like to understand from an educator's perspective, because that is uniquely yours. How important is the role of cultural exchange in shaping a new generation of globally aware youth from the SCO states?
As a researcher, I've been studying China's image in Central Asia and the impact of the BRI for quite some time. And in my earlier work, like 5 or 7 years back, I noted that cultural aspects received very little coverage in media. And the media attention would rise only when presidents meet or during official visits, but art-based exchanges were rarely highlighted. But nowadays, like I'm still doing research on this area, and today the picture is completely different. Now we see the frequent coverage of cultural initiatives, joint projects like Silk Star, which organized by Kazakhstan and China, and SEO Film and Television Week. Even this program. These are the exchanges that bring people together. Media partnerships, like for example, cooperation between Atomic and Business Channel from Kazakhstan and China Media Group is opening new opportunities to tell, share stories, and connect audiences across borders.
Yeah.
So the change is very inspiring.
Yeah.
It shows that cultural dialogue is no longer just a side note to politics. It's becoming a driving force in shaping how the next generation of SEO youth will understand one another and work together for shared future.
Just now, Aino made such a great point, which is at the end of the day, we as human beings, what we live for, not politics, right? We live for culture. We live for, the wonderful things that a civilization can offer, the films, the arts, the books, the food, the sites, Professor He, I see you knocking your head here. At the end of the day, as Dr. Hassan mentioned, I think that people-to-people exchanges or civilizational exchanges is not a means, but probably the goal itself. I have to go to Anton. Anton from Russia, you have about 5 million fans in China. How did you manage to do that? And what are you giving them? What are you showing them that they all love you?
Oh, actually, speaking of making videos, we started more than 8 years ago. And in the beginning, it was just like silly, goofy videos that everybody was doing. But after that, we kind of leaned more into cultural exchange related videos. For example, I'll go to Russia, I'll make some videos there and share it on, for example, Chinese TikTok to let people know more about Russia, to overcome some prejudices that we might have, some, I don't know, some misinformation, misconceptions, and both. I might make some videos about China here domestically and then upload it to TikTok international to let more people know about China, how it really is.
What's the number one
And
trending? What's the number one trending video you made? Can you recall an example?
Once my dad came to China for the first time, I took him to the market, just a local market here in Qingdao. And the video, as of today, it has 1.5 million likes. And
Wow.
collectively, I think 150 million views.
Wow.
Just my dad going to the market. Yeah, taking a look. Yeah, maybe I've got kind of used to that, but to him, like he kind of see it from a fresh perspective because he's never been there before, first time, and like everything is new. Like
Yeah.
it's very different from Russia, and a lot of people in China really like that. Kind of like the fresh look to make them understand that it's not really present all over the world. Because, for example, if you go to another country, it's different there. And once again, I think it kind of shows the cultural differences on a kind of basic level.
We join each other through this diversity, and that is the unity and diversity that I think that is extremely important for a framework such as the SCO. So my next question comes to our friend from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Salman Al-Sali. With the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that is now becoming more and more actively engaged in Eurasian platforms. How do you see the role of the kingdom in promoting cultural exchange, also youth diplomacy?
Ever since Saudi Arabia joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization as a dialogue partner in July 2023, Saudi Arabia, in a bloc that represents 40% of the world's population and about a quarter of global GDP and a third of PPP, of global PPP. When it comes to your question, youth diplomacy is definitely central in Saudi Arabia, with 63% of Saudis under the age of 30. And the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman himself, he said, and I quote, he said, "I look at the future optimistically, a future created by the youth in the kingdom." And another thing, the kingdom has sponsored hundreds of thousands of scholarships for Saudi students abroad, and including in SCO countries, and to build definitely bridges of knowledge and skills. At the same time, the Saudi universities offer thousands of scholarships for international students to study in the kingdom and creating real people-to-people ties. And that's what we really need. In this way, Saudi Arabia is definitely using its youth, education, and heritage to deepen civilizational dialogue within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization.
Mayor Sahakian joining us from Cyprus. You are a strategic studies expert from Armenia. We actually really don't know so much. We don't hear so much about it. Tell us a bit more about your country. What is the understanding, the perception of SCO, of the platform, and why do you think it is important for Armenians, young people in Armenia, to also look east, to Central Asia, to Southern Asia, to China and to other Southeastern Asian countries and do more exchanges in with this part of the world?
Thank you so much for the invitation. It is my honor to join you. And of course, for Armenia, it is very important to work with China, which is the second largest economy in the world, also with our friends from Central Asia, from Russia, from Pakistan, and other Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states. From my own perspective, I can mention that 6 years ago, I was invited to the dialogue between young leaders of Eurasia, organized by Shanghai Cooperation Organizations, where I met with many colleagues and friends from different states. We have a special panel on Shanghai Cooperation Organization. We are bringing recommendations and offers how we can establish more cooperation between our states. And for a long time, we were offering and recommending to Armenian government to apply for full membership. And I want to mention that this year, Armenia applied for full membership, and the Armenian Prime Minister will be in Tianjin, which is a good moment, and I hope that China and our states will approve, and we will stand full member.
What's very important when I understand from all this discussion is how collaboration is extremely important and a basic understanding of each other's values, respect, and moving together under a platform that is beneficial for everybody. My question now goes to Excellency Jumat Otobayev, who is, of course, a former Prime Minister of the Kyrgyz Republic. Excellency, first of all, thank you very much to have been part of this gathering, as I can say, of medias and of scholars from different countries. In your point of view, sir, what are the key expectations that you have or others might have from this region, from this SCO summit, as far as enhancing political trust and stability across the region is concerned?
So this is a unique opportunity for Chinese leadership to show ambitious plan for the next, not only 1, 2, 5 years, but for 10 years to come. And I think that we will wait with the kind of really urgency the communique of declaration of the meeting in Tianjin to see what would be the plan for next 10 years. And I feel that it's very important that Chinese state television and Pakistani television ignite this discussion about how our young generation, by learning from each other, would drive our organization ahead with win-win-win, many win outcomes. I think that it's very important to provide voice not only for the current summit but for the future. I think it will not be beneficiary for our 10 countries full members, but as well as observers, but also to the rest of the world. And the success of Shanghai Cooperation Organization will be reflected to the new application of the membership. Indeed, what I know that Armenia applied formally to be full member, and only all countries will be deciding whether it will happen this time or next time. But indeed, appetite for joining Shanghai Cooperation Organization is growing around our continent as well as around the world. I really wish to the summit great success, as all people around the world are watching and will be listening carefully what will be output of this summit.
Thank you very much for those very kind words, Excellency Jumar, because the fact is that all the countries that form the SCO are very robust in their own perspectives and want to bring their contribution to the SCO. And it is through the youth, it is through cultural diplomacy, it is through the interaction of our youth that now form the bulk of the different states that form the SCO that will take this organization forward in a more strengthened and robust manner. Shin, over to you.
Okay, thank you. And many thanks to Mr. Orabayev, Your Excellency, for those very important words. We certainly will be keeping a close watch on the situation. As you said, this is not just about the SCO, it's also about the rest of the world, in the situation where we are, the kind of conflict and the kind of divergence and polarization we're seeing. But let me come back to Professor He here in the studio. In terms of academic exchange, in terms of youth exchanges, we understand the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has programs. Actionable is the key word that many of our guests mentioned. For instance, I understand there are scholarships for instance, 1,000 young people to come to China and study in the period of 5 years. That was announced last year. What kind of opportunities? Tell us a bit more about these kind of opportunities, and what kind of help and opportunity can young people from SCO members that they can enjoy with China putting so much effort into people-to-people exchanges?
Well, I think a lot of exchange programs have been going on for not only the past 20 years, and these programs have been increased. But also one thing which is very important is to enhance the quality of the cooperation exchanges.
What do you mean by that? Give us an example, if you can.
That is to say, we have to materialize the concepts proposed by the leaders, the political leaders. There are two things that I can think of that might come out of the summit, the Tianjin summit. One thing is probably the Luban workshop model.
Okay.
Because this model has been practiced, also duplicated in many other countries.
Okay, for those who are not familiar with the idea of Luban workshop, Luban is the name of a Chinese
master carpenter.
Yeah,
who has built not only a lot of great buildings, but also has accumulated traditional skills.
So he was born 2,500 years ago. But by that, do you mean that there will be more opportunities for young people in
particularly
in terms of vocational training?
That's right. For vocational training, In the past, vocational training was disconnected with, for example, high-ranking scholarship. But with this model, which has been, let's say, practiced in Egypt, you see, and then by following this model, we can bring the students who have completed their vocational education through this model to China, for example, to continue their what we call the bachelor degree studies programs and so on.
Okay, so let me go to, I know, I would love to have more female guests here, but anyway, you are, you bring such a special and different perspective. What would you like to suggest to young people who are looking for opportunities for learning, for their career development? What advice would you, what tips would you give them?
I always advise to like learning is lifelong process. It never ends. And when it comes to learning, like in the classroom, we learn about the knowledge. But outside, if we are in a like in an academic mobility, if we go abroad, we broaden our perspectives. We learn about the cultures, about different. For example, like recently, we have now a visa-free with China, and I took this chance to visit China for 3 weeks with my colleagues and with my students. I took them for summer school, and for most of them, it was first time to be in China, and they were like fascinated. They said this is different China than what I imagined, and they thought that they would be definitely want to be back. At the same time, my professor from China came to Astana and visited, and he said the same. Even if we talk about visa-free, it's about creating new way of understanding of each other. Now that barrier is gone, and it makes exchanges, whether cultural or academic or business, much more natural. And I think we have to take this chance to learn about each other, to get to know about more cultural or like whatever like we want to learn in terms of science, academic, like this kind of cooperation should go further and develop more.
Thank you, Ainur. Thank you. Omar.
My next question goes to my Armenian guest, Meher Sahakyan. I'd like to understand, sir, what opportunities do you see under the SCO? And of course, what are the expectations from the Tianjin Summit as well, as far as economic cooperation between the SCO states that could also have a cultural and a civilizational significance?
Thank you so much for your very important question. And of course, economics are providing many opportunities, and I will suggest to pay more attention to transportation infrastructure development and of course peace in Shanghai Cooperation Organization territory, because without peace and without infrastructure development, it will be very hard. And of course, it is also very important to pay attention on educational opportunities. And when I am saying it, I again remember my own experience. When I came to China first time as a businessman, but I understood that something is happening in this country. There is such a dynamic, and I decided to also learn Chinese language. And I fully agree with Professor Khalid. If we want to understand people, we need to study language. We need to speak with these people. And I started my PhD at the Nanjing University. And I know that Lucien also graduated from Nanjing University. And it is also great. Yes.
Anton, let me go to you again. The time is very limited, but you know this relationship is not just two-way between China and other SCO countries. It's also among SCO countries and between other members of SCO countries. In your personal case, would you like one day to make a video about Pakistan or about your father visiting a market in Pakistan?
Yeah, why not? Because right now we work really close with SCO, and we make videos about a lot of SCO projects, and maybe going to Pakistan, going to India, going to other places. Why not? I've actually been very close to Pakistan and Chinese border last year. as a part of our trip, we were making a program about that. And last year, we were also making a program about our free economic zone here in Qingdao, because we have a really, really outstanding zone here, like the only one in the whole China. And yeah, there are a lot of projects that we can make, and I was honored last week to go to Lubang Workshop headquarters in Tianjin and speak to the head of the whole program, Mrs. Li. And I was just amazed by back in 2016, we only had one Lubang workshop in Thailand, and right now it's like 30, 34. And the last one been opened in Moscow actually in June 19th. And it's growing. It haven't even been 10 years, and we already have 34 Lubang workshops. And yeah, I have such plans to make more videos and more content SEO related, especially because right now we have such a cultural variety within SEO. We have so many cultures, so many religions, and I think that prejudices and misconceptions are still a thing, but we are working like really, really hard to break all the barriers and let cultures kind of work together.
When we talk of breaking the barriers, and I think breaking the barriers is what the SCO countries are doing. Salman Al Ansari, I'd like to understand from your perspective how we can, all the SCO countries can break this barrier, as Anton has pointed out, for cultural and educational collaboration between all the different countries that form the SCOs, directly or indirectly. And how important is this expansion now and in the coming years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important. Like, I totally agree with all the honorable guests' comments. And also to add that we need to deconstruct the notion of culture. Like, how can we find out like a way through which we can actually work together to have joint, for example, film festivals, joint music festivals, joint book fairs, and we are already doing so, but we need to invest more on that. Like, for example, about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has secured $64 billion invested in culture and entertainment. So we are actually having the golden age of Saudi culture right now. And also Saudi Arabia is opening space for joint films, arts, and heritage festivals that revive our shared history, not only in the Middle East, but around the world as well, with also to revive our shared Silk Road history. Also, we can actually do things with technology, like having technology platforms that can actually increase awareness about the importance of knowing each other, of being in touch with each other. And also, I would like to highlight the comment that has been mentioned by one of your guests, who talked about like the free visa thing that actually facilitates people to go and see each other, etc. That's actually very important. And I think the real achievement of this summit will be making cultural exchange institutionalized, digital, and youth driven, ensuring it becomes a permanent bridge across Eurasia. And here I must salute China for its vision in centering this summit on the concepts of culture, cooperation, and people-to-people ties, because that's what we really
Want to center it
need in
on
this.
people-to-people contact, culture, and cooperation, Salman, and you very aptly put it. And the way the kingdom is also moving forward, all the other countries in the SCO are also moving forward. My question next goes to Dr. Hassan Daud Butt. Dr. Hassan Daud Butt, Salman talked about the real achievement of this summit. From a Pakistani perspective, what will be or what should be the real achievement of this summit?
Yes, I think there will be many in terms of both intangible and tangible ones. Of course, countries like Pakistan, developing countries, are opening their market. So there will be discussion around infrastructure development, more, as I said, inclusive growth. But on the intangible side, I think, and the value of that is very important, and we've just had discussion on that. I think more education collaboration, and Professor mentioned about university to university alliances. There is also within the CPEC framework, we have a consortium of business school working together. So, as you said, economy and culture moving together on an SEO platform. So we need to uh, bridge culture, and the best way to bridge this is through more academic interaction, more people-to-people interaction, more actors, craftsmen working together, bringing new ideas. You know, what we do today is extremely important for the future of our next generation. We're living in turbulent time, as we had discussed earlier. So anything that brings peace, harmony, talks about culture, talks about colors, talks about fusion is of immense importance, and therefore role of each one of these countries are important. And in Pakistan, which also has a great historic link with Central Asia, with Iran, with Saudi Arabia.
I think that's very important in the current circumstances. Peace, as you said, collaboration and understanding. I think this understanding is extremely important. It is because of a lack of understanding that we have so many conflicts that happen. If people understand each other through culture, through youth engagement, through shared programs, that is how we can do the needful. It's a very interesting discussion that we've had, Shina. I think it's extremely important under the current circumstances to
Yes.
get all of these people from different countries that represent directly or indirectly, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, to give their points of view on how we can further strengthen this robust organization.
Yeah.
I leave you to end this show, and then we'll come back to it.
Thank you so much, Omar. It's been a great pleasure and great honor to work with your distinguished organization and to work with you. It's been so smooth. I'm really happy. See, after this cooperation, we know each other a bit better. Next time I go to Pakistan, I have an address. We'll go to the market together, maybe.
You will always be my guest. I'll show you around the markets. I can assure you, I will take you in the busiest of markets, and you can have a lot of new interactions there as well.
I look forward to that. I so look forward to that. It's been a great pleasure. I certainly learned a lot, and many thanks to our guests who have been sharing with us their wonderful insights. Professor He Keyong of the School of Foreign Studies at Minzu University of China, Dr. Hassan Daoud Bhatt, a former project director of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, joining us from the studio in Pakistan. Ainur Slamagazi, Assistant Professor at Astana IT University. Thank you very much. Mayor Sakhakian, Director of China Eurasia Council for Political and Strategic Research in Armenia, my alumni from Nanjing University. Salman Al-Ansari, a Saudi geopolitical researcher, bringing us a very unique perspective from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And last but not least, Anton Butov, a Russian actor, influencer, and businessman, whose video about his father visiting a Chinese market went viral. And we hope there are more videos coming up in the future. I'm sure of that. It's been a real pleasure, Omar, isn't it? And to have all of these guests. Thank you so much. And we have to wrap it up. Thank you for watching this special joint production between CGTN and PTV World from Pakistan. This is Liu Xin in Beijing. As usual, you can follow me on Facebook and X using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. Omar, thank you so much. It's goodbye from Beijing. Omar?
It was all ours, I think, Shin. I think it was an extremely important collaboration because we are already friends and we are already collaborating in so many different circles. I wish to have more of such programs so that not only do we bridge the gaps in the different forms that people don't understand each other, and the whole perspective. I think one of the important perspectives of this show was also to understand each other. So the discussion, as we all know, has shown us that culture, education, youth, and economics are not separate streams but interconnected pathways towards trust and cooperation and peace. It's goodbye from us in Pakistan as well. We wish all of our viewers all the very best in all the different countries where you're watching us. And may SCO continue to prosper, to strengthen, and to prove to the world that this is an organization that truly matters. Allah Hafiz from us in Pakistan.
And all the very best from us here in Beijing. Thank you for watching once again. See you next time.